Hey everyone, and welcome to the results video of our second mini shoestring contest. Now in this contest all the players had to build a ride that used shoestringing in some way. Now if you don't know what shoestringing is, basically it's a technique where the train of a ride is split into separate vehicles, or maybe one vehicle is split off, and then both parts of the train will go around on a separate track while they're still influencing each other because they're part of the same train. But yeah, this allows for a lot of different tricks to be done, and this video is a good showcase of all that's possible with shoestringing. Anyway, as usual in these more technical contests, we didn't get a lot of entries, but the ones that we got make up for that with their quality. Now, a lot of the scores in this contest are really close, especially the later ones. So I think we can just start with the entry that got last place, and I'll finish the video by announcing who is the winner of this round. Alright, in the last place we have this entry from Eric the Fred. Now I think this is a fun snowy landscape, quite simple but nicely decorated with this foliage. And over here we have this this ride here. I believe it's called a Bayern curve. So here's just a little waiting area, and here you can see the ride go around with all these differently colored vehicles. So this is a typical ride you would find at a fairground or a smaller park, I think. But yeah, it's just this train going around this banked track. Now it does go pretty slow for quite an amount of the ride. Maybe it would have been nice if it did a few more circuits maybe. But yeah, for I believe this is Eric the Fred's first entry, not really sure, but if it is, I think it's pretty nice for a first entry. Okay, here we have the entry from Bags. And Bags made a Vekoma Madhouse ride called Hall of Mirrors. So yeah, if we disable scenery, you can see it go around here. So how these rides typically work, the real Vekoma Madhouse rides. Basically there's this, let's call it a gondola that goes around here in the middle. It swings back and forth while there's a structure that goes around it. Usually it looks like a big room of sorts, like you're inside a ship or a castle. And that actually makes it look like you're continuously traveling upside down. It's a big optical illusion. But yeah, I think it's quite fun how Bags recreated one of these rides. Now, it is kind of difficult to actually make a ride where the guests sit opposite each other. So that's why Bags used these hardline twister cars with these ones facing forward and these ones facing backwards, so the guests are facing each other. I think it would have been difficult to use a different vehicle for that. Obviously, wide seats like the vertical drop coaster probably would have looked nicer, but then would have been really difficult to get these guests to face the other way. But still, I think it's a fun take on one of these rides. Maybe it would have been nice to actually have something rotate around here. But yeah, it would have all been pretty difficult to do. Now, I did see some remarks in the comments from people that the rest of the park was a bit undecorated. Probably with a few more decorations here, maybe it would have looked a little bit nicer. Maybe could have scored a little bit higher. But still, I think it's a really fun take on a Vekoma Madhouse. Alright, the next ride is from Der Sunger. He created this this freefall tower that's in Holiday Park in Germany, Anubis Freefall Tower. I think the tower itself looks really nice. Oh, it looks also like Dirklink is on Anubis Freefall Tower. Yeah, I think the tower itself is quite a nice recreation. I really like how he did this tower structure. He actually used this castle, the recolorable castle tower piece, to make the structure of the tower. I think that's really clever, and also has its track around it, which is made of multi-dimension coaster track. Yeah, we can see the 4 coaster cars, yeah, one on each side, traveling upwards. And when they reach that area, they will fall down, and they will break before they hit the ground. I think it's a nice take on a ride like this. It's really tall for a roller coaster tycoon standards, but I think the big tower structure actually makes it look quite realistic. It doesn't look out of proportion, which is something you quite often get when you make a really tall structure in this game. Now, I also looked at some real pictures of this area in Holiday Park. I think this area could have used a little bit more eye to detail. For example, I believe this plaza is a mix of brown and red tiles. But yeah, that was the situation in the pictures. I don't know what was used as reference here. But yeah, overall, I think this is pretty nicely done. I really like the tower that was made. Alright, then we have the entry from Colorblind Unicorn. Now, this was actually my favorite entry of the round, so I'm a little bit sad that we see it here on this spot in the ranking. But yeah, from here on, all the scores in this contest were really close, so just a few votes could have made this one the winner. But yeah, that's just how it is, of course. I'm only one of the voters. We had a lot of people vote in this round, so I guess my opinion is just an outlier in this case. But yeah, this is a Tower of Terror kind of ride. If we hide the scenery, we can look inside here. We can see these cabins travel up and down on this track. It actually peaks out at some point here. And then when they're done, they return back to their station, and then the other vehicle takes their place. So yeah, I think it's very nicely timed, and also the behavior of these cabins. I think it's also yeah, it's just very well done. It's really fun watching these vehicles travel up and down across this track with this almost erratic behavior. Yeah, I think it's just technically done so well. And I also really like the way this tower looks. I don't often use these expansion scenery items, but in this case I think they work really well. Okay, here's the entry from Lurker. Lurker recreated a classic ride that you can still see in some older parks. Here you can see a ride called a whip. So it's a really nice building which it sits in. And yeah, normally in a ride like this, all these cars are attached to a belt that rotates around. That's rotated by some big gears or rotating wheels. And it actually whips these cars around the corner and makes them... yeah, it really flings them around. That's why it's called a whip. But yeah, I really like how Lurker did this. And he actually made these vehicles over here part of the Shoestring, so they're part of the same vehicle. I think that's really cleverly done. I think it's a fun way to do a Shoestring like this. I believe this is one of the first Shoestrings that Lurker did. I saw he had quite a bit of trouble doing it, but I think it worked out really well in the end. And of course, the landscaping is as we are used from Lurker, which is yeah, just done in a beautiful way. Alright, the next entry is from Raymond L. He made this big tower here in the middle, also with this shoestring ride with 4 vehicles. Now, it will take a while for the ride to actually get started, because there's a really long minimum waiting time. For this video, I'm just going to set it a bit lower. Now, we can see these cars travel up vertically, and then they will spiral downwards like this. It will take a while for them to actually reach the bottom. But I think that's really nicely done. It's pretty cool to see these vehicles travel up vertically. It's almost yeah, probably they are supposed to be attached to this tower in some way, and then swing outwards. maybe there would be a ring which they would be attached to. Not really sure. But yeah, I think it's a pretty cool way to do a ride like this. I don't think I've ever seen someone make something like this. I mean, I have seen Starflyer rides where a lot of vehicles would spiral upwards and then downwards. I don't think I've seen anybody make a ride like this where the cars first travel up vertically and then spiral downwards. But yeah, it does look like a bit of a futuristic park, so it's probably something that Raymond L made up by himself. Now there's also some other rides in the park. This looks like one of those G-force training things. That's a pretty cool take on a ride like this. Getting dizzy. There's also some other rides in the park like this air-powered vertical coaster. Now Raymond L did have to put all these other rides in test mode because in this contest only the Shoestring ride was allowed to be opened. Now myself, I probably wouldn't make a air-powered vertical coaster like this. I think they look nicer. Yeah, with when you use other tracks and a bit wider top hats. But yeah, in the end this entry did score pretty well. Also really like the way that Raymond L made these rockets. Okay, here's the entry from Manticore. Manticore made Tweestrijd, which is a coaster in the Netherlands, which actually sits in an animal park. And these two coaster trains are actually part of the same train. So this is another thing you can do with shoestringing, which is quite unique. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do a dueling ride like this. Now obviously when they are part of the same train, the track length actually becomes important because the trains, these two trains will always drive at the same speed because they're part of the same train. So yeah, because these tracks are not equal length until the part where they reach the spike, you will see that one half of the train on this side actually goes higher than the other train before they both go back. So yeah, when you make these, when you do a dueling ride like this with shoestringing, yeah, you will see that other things are important than you would normally have to take care of while having two rides duel with each other. But yeah, that's just a nitpick. I think the ride looks incredible, and also the landscaping, the scenery around it, especially this section over here. I think it's really cool. You can also see a really cool trick here. Manticore actually put invisible toilets here to actually make it look like the guests are looking at these park maps here. So when a guest sits in a toilet, he just stands still like this until he's emptied his bladder. And when you make the toilet invisible, yeah, it will just look like they're standing there watching the maps. Really cool trick. Alright, there are just 2 entries remaining. I will first show both of them, and after that I will reveal which one is the winner of this round. Here you can see the entry from Kongoy. Now he made this ride before in a different park with different colors. I told him it would look great in a steampunk setting. So when this contest came along, he actually built that ride again, but he used the steampunk palette from Henk the Supernerd. And he built a steampunky city setting around it. And yeah, this ride just looks incredible with these colors and with this setting. I think it's perfect for a steampunk setting. Now, not only the ride looks great, the area which it sits in also looks incredible. I love all these decorations on these buildings with all this smoke, but also all the machinery around, all the steam, of course. Really cool tricks like this submarine sign hanging from the building here. The lamps here in different colors. Yeah, I just love this palette with all the different tints of brown that it has. Also this goo over here. Also the train station also looks incredible. Yeah, there's just so many cool details in this small map. Yeah, I think the setting for this ride is just perfect. Yeah, also I really recommend you check out these maps for yourself. You can download them all from my Discord server, from the mini contest archive. And yeah, you can find a link to my Discord server in the video description, and Discord is completely free. So be sure to check out these maps for yourself. Anyway, yeah, like I already said, I think this is just a wonderful entry. Alright, and finally here we have the entry from The Brew, and he went for an inverted impulse coaster, but it's not a normal inverted impulse coaster. Actually has a holding brake here at the end that activates every time this coaster does its backward spike. I believe it's done with a control track, which actually has one of those track pieces from the vertical drop coaster, which is of course the holding brake before drop. And it's actually a piece that will always just drop the speed of the train to 0 and then release it. And since it's on a spike here, it will just go back whenever it reaches it. It looks like it doesn't reach it in the first pass, but only after the after it passes here the second time, or maybe even the third time. Yeah, looks like it only reached it after 3 times. But yeah, not only is it a fun ride to watch, it's also just beautifully done. I love the way The Brew did these supports over here. Yeah, these support towers, they look amazing with these launched freefall pieces, but also inverted impulse coaster track. Also these present corner pieces, the recolorable ones. The map itself, or the park itself, also looks great. There's some great looking buildings over here. Yeah, it just looks nice and tropical. Just a really nice setting. Also a nice little lighthouse over here. Looks like he did the lights with these cog wheels. Little pool here in the middle. Yeah, this is just a great setting for an inverted impulse coaster, I think. Alright, now that we've seen all these shoestring rides, it's time to reveal which one of these entries has been chosen by the voters as the winner of this round. And the winner of our second mini shoestring contest is... The Brew with his inverted impulse coaster. Now, as I already mentioned, the scores of many of these entries were really close. I believe the top 5 was all within 0.3 points of each other. So any vote could have changed the result. So yeah, in my eyes, all these last entries were winners of this round. But yeah, of course only one can have the highest score. Anyway, yeah, not too many entries in this round, but they really made up for it with their quality. Now, yeah, that was it for this round. If you liked watching these entries, please consider giving this video a like. It would really help out my channel. Also, I would really like to know in the comments which of these entries was your favorite. And of course, if you want to join one of these rounds, simply join my Discord server. Links in the video description. And once again, Discord is completely free. Alright, that was it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again in the next one. See you later.